Hello, my name is Darren Hagen, and I'm going to answer a couple of questions that Jane sent along. I thought that it would be easier and more personable to answer the questions directly in a little video than to sit down and type out long answers. I told her that one of the nice things about being a living composer is being alive, and it's one of the few advantages we have over dead composers. There are 5 things that she asked me to sound off about. One is my philosophy of writing. I like to write songs that are challenging but not impossible to sing. I write in the Italian tradition, which means that I craft my songs for the specific singer that's going to sing them. And then, by extension, they are singable by other singers. The German tradition is you write it and we'll find somebody who can sing it. An excellent example of the German tradition is Leonard Bernstein, who famously used to say, I don't know, we'll find somebody who can do it. And the Italian tradition, a famous example would be Giancarlo Menotti, who always knew for whom he was writing. In the end, most composers of vocal music write for themselves. It's a rare treat and a little bit frightening to hear composers sing their own music. But if you can sing it or croak it as a composer, it can generally be sung by singers. So that's a general philosophy. Inspiration. Well, there's a very famous Stephen Sondheim show called Merrily We Roll Along. That's about a composer and his lyricist. And at one point, the lyricist is asked, what comes first, the words or the music? And the lyricist says, generally the contract. While setting that sort of flippant, though very important answer aside, what usually comes first is the words. For art songs, almost exclusively, a composer is choosing words, whether of great poetic value or nature or not, that already exist, and adding music to them. When you write a pop song, customarily the words and music come at the same time. Sometimes when I write a song that for which I'm giving my own lyrics, they will come out at the same time. And that can even be an art song as well. But the words come first chronologically. Consequently, they exert a huge amount of influence over the structure of the song and the way the song is going to unfold. Importantly, a composer of art songs doesn't have to necessarily agree with the emotional state created by the poet. In fact, it can be more interesting if the music doesn't agree. Music doesn't just set words to music. Setting words to music and saying, oh, well, I'm just serving the poetry is sort of dishonest. Anytime you recontextualize anything, it means something different. So a composer who is really serious about setting words to music understands that she or he is a combination of stage director, deciding line readings for each line, artist, and critic, interestingly enough. As a critic, you are taking a stance on the text. As an artist, you're responding as a colleague. It's important to remember, though, that the words were there first, so I personally set first and foremost so that the words will be understood. Set for sense, then for beauty and understandability. Isn't that interesting? And not understandability, but for expressing my emotions about the words. Nothing matters if you can't understand the words. If the audience can't understand the words, they may not consciously be annoyed, but certainly many of them are subconsciously pretty irritated that they can't figure out what's going on. Practical matters like process. Well, process is very personal. Different kinds of vocal music require a different process. When I write lyric theater, I tend to go for the most important places in the story first and set those to music with the most intense music, and usually intensely lyrical music, and then little by little work my way down to the most boring interaction. I would not elevate certain sentences by making them highly lyrical. That's what we have recitative for and parlando. One of the things that composers like me joke about is that most opera is pretty much just parlando and note spinning. You have to have the courage at the great moments to roll out a big tune. Anything you would like the students who are new to your music to know? Well, music's about people, not about music. My music, as I said at the very beginning, might be a little bit challenging to sing. Most of the early songs that I wrote in my teens and early 20s, everything I've ever written is in print, so you can find it at the library. Most of the early songs are pretty easy to sing because I wrote them for undergraduates with whom I was going to school and for my high school fiancé. All the piano parts are not particularly taxing because I was still a young pianist who didn't play very well. So I would start with my early songs, echoes songs, love songs. Those are a little tougher. But those are early and tuneful. If you have time, can you talk about music generally? Well, music, as I said, is about people and landing with people. You just are not just expressing yourself. You are expressing people's hopes and dreams. Give them a doorway to walk through so that they can do the right thing. So they can feel, they can empathize, and they can become better people. Nice talking to you for a second. Bye now.